Hello, I posted few videos of the Infernalist build of melting some of the bosses. Then I was asked, can I share the build and the setup? So here is something that I'll share with you. My setup is not a kind of a pro level kind of setup where I'm trying to min max the damage. Uh, just a casual player, so my build and the setup is pretty casual. The gear I have is it's pretty budget. I think I may have spent about 10 to 15 Divine Orbs and maybe about 10 to 15 Exalted Orbs. So let's get started with this. So this first thing first, this is a pure minion build. So 95% of the damage is being done by the minions. I'm only contributing to maybe 5%, sometime maybe less. So the goal in this whole build is to maximize and optimize the minions that you have. So what do I have as minions? Let's see. What I have here is, let's look at this minion count. So I have my Infernal Hound that I'm gonna get with my Infernalist Ascendancy. I got two Skeletal Warrior minions that I'm getting because of the Scepter, the Rattling Scepter I'm using. I got two Cleric minions. That is very critical for this build because I want to make sure that all the minions are staying alive and are being healed during the fight. I got five mages. I'll explain why I'm carrying five mages. Then I'm carrying the new Twilight Order Oathsworn minions. The These are critical for this build because they do the maximum damage. Then I got one skeletal sniper, um, and then I have one storm mage. The reason I have the storm mage and the sniper is not they don't contribute too much to the damage, but the support skill, the muster, it increases the DPS, the damage that you do based on number of different minions that you have on the field. So based on this, you can see I got 7 minions. I think that is sufficient for me. I'm not carrying any of the other minions. I'm not carrying any uh, because I think that is sufficient for this. And uh, the warriors that I get from the scepters, they're pretty cheap. So they also contribute when I'm trying to pin when I'm using my pay offering. So instead of using some other expensive ones, I think I find it cheaper to use these warrior minions. So that is all the setup that I have. So basically 9 Oathsworns and 5 mages, they are going to do the big damage for me. So I am carrying 5 mages and not replacing them with the Oathsworn is because the mages they do decent cold damage. When they're doing cold damage, they also manage to freeze the mobs, and a lot of time it will freeze the boss as well. And I have found that it has saved me a number of times when the boss is about to do some big damage or when I get in trouble. The mages have come to rescue that. They just manage to freeze it and allows me to get away from the harm's way. So that is the first thing. That is the setup that I got for the minions. Next thing, what are the the spells I'm carrying? So first you can see I got Scarlet Warrior minions. They are coming because of the scepter. Then I got the Ray Shield. That is because of the shield that I'm carrying. Then the Infernal Hound is coming from the Ascendancy. Then Unearth. This is a spell that I'm carrying. This is going to be, you're going to need something because there are going to be times when you're going to have to get out of some of the fights yourself, uh, especially when you get caged into some situation. Unearth does decent amount of damage and it will get you out of it. Okay, this is something that I'm doing a little different from a lot of people have done in their build. I'm carrying Contagion. The reason I'm carrying Contagion is because it does put a little dot on the mobs, and because of the nature of how it spreads, and especially in situations where you've got a lot of mobs, like especially when you're doing the rituals, you got a lot of mobs moving around. You just put one Contagion, on one end, when it gets killed, it spread this contagion, and as this is spreading, the damage of this contagion is spreading to all the way up to 300%. It may not be a lot of damage, but it's still is a passive dot that has been put on the mobs, which will take it down, and sometimes it comes very handy to kill the mob when you are not around. Bone cage. So this is a. I had to take it. There's a reason for it. There are a few fights where the minions will get completely wiped, especially like Geminara fight in the Copper Citadel when the sandstorm starts. I play on PS5 console. I have not been able to find a way to direct the minion to come under the umbrella in that fight, and they get wiped. But the problem is that during that fight, the boss spawns so many the ads that because most of the damage is coming from the minions, and minions are all dead. So then you get overwhelmed. So what can you do at that point? So what I found is that uh, I have wiped few times on that fight because I needed to figure out what to do with this if I cannot position the mobs. So I found that Bone Cage did the job for me, and I used Bone Cage. It will pin all the ads and gives me enough time to just kind of use Unearth along with Contagion to kill the mobs and keep them away from me for enough time that the sandstorm phase passes, and then I'm able to get away from it. Uh, Next one, so then you have the minions that I'm carrying, this clerics. Pain offering, that is your damage boosters that you're gonna need. Then you got the mage minions. So you can see that I'm only carrying the 5 support slots only for these two only, because that's the only one I really need, Frost Mage and the Orc Swans. Others I do have, some of them, but they are not that critical. So that's all the minion setup I have. So that's Now let's look at the build, my passive tree skill. So pretty standard. I will start from this side. Spell damage, minion damage. Mostly I am gonna, because in this build, 95% of damage comes from minions. Any of your stats that do not apply to minions, keep that in mind. That your stats don't apply to the minions. So it's all on the minions. So if you're thinking of carrying spell damage and other things, they don't transfer to the minions. So initially, when you start progression, when you are leveling, at that point you're going to have to carry the spell damage also, because contagion and your other spell damage is going to be your main your damage dealers. But as you progress, and as uh, your minions start becoming stronger, then you can start dropping all the other spell damage ones and start moving towards the minion ones. Initially, I had, so for example, initially I had in the entropy side, chaos damage side, I had taken these nodes as well. But as I progress, I dropped it later. So you can see pretty much everything is all about the minions, and I have this I have taken after I reached the end game, because at that time the survival becomes pretty critical. But initially you don't have to take it, you will be just keep moving along. So all the nodes that you need. So the best way to find the nodes is that I use the filter on the passive that highlights all the passive nodes that are related to the minions. So you can see, let me turn off the filter for now, so you can see the tree a little bit better, that I have taken the path. So you can see it's taking the path going all the way to the minion, all the minion nodes. I've taken along the way, I have taken the nodes that will give me the energy shield, because that is going to be critical for you. So you get, again, all the minion nodes I have taken, the minion damage this side, presence. So on the scepter, a lot of damage comes from your presence. So you want to make sure that that even you're staying back from the minions, but your presence area is what is big enough for the minions to stay, to have the advantage, have the effect of your presence also. So this is very critical. So you're going to have this presence area nodes, the profane commander. So again, all the nodes that I need for the minion damage. So there's another one. So this you may be wondering about these duration of these minions that comes from the unearthed minions that are created. They are on a timer. So, but you also want to make sure that they stay a little longer. I have found that I have not used them much. So this is another path you need to make sure that you actually do take the node of Lord of Horrors. So you want to make sure that your reservation is reduced because you want to have as many minions as you can. So again, all the minion nodes are carried. So all the elementary. So your job is mostly to make sure that you during all the fights you look pretty and you stay alive. Because if you being dead, minions cannot do anything at that point. So you have to stay alive, and your survival is going to come from the gear. And so let's now. This is all the nodes that I have. So now you can see on the energy shields, the minion ones. So I'm gonna just again go back and turn on the filter for the minions. So they're all active again. So the minion ones. So now let's look at the gear that I'm carrying. First thing first, scepter. Your priority for is to have to max out your spirit and and carry as much health as you can because of your let's first look at our ascendancy. So let's look at the ascendancy. So this is how I did the present ascendancy. The first 2 points, they went to the minion life and the hellhound. That is how we started. The next ascendancy when I did this the life and the altered flesh. So the third one where I took the life and the Beatles will because it will reserve 25% of the life, and for every 25 of your life it gives you one spirit because you want to maximize. So the last ascendancy that I did, I just took the again increase of, I did not do the Beatles hand and the Beatles gaze because I think I had a decent amount of energy shield on me, so I didn't bother taking it. So this is all the setup I have for the ascendancy. So now coming back to the gear again. So scepter, you want to make sure that you have at least 60%, not less. That is kind of seems to be decent. So the next one that is very critical is the level of all minion skills. The max you can get is 4, but I have found that initially you can stay up to 3 as you are progressing and getting more exalted and divine orbs. Then you can buy the one with the +4 level of minion skills, but +3 is decent enough. I think I managed to buy it for maybe for 2 or 3 exalted orbs. Next thing we have is the Prism Guardian. This gives us 50 spirit, and the key one is the number of the last look at that. It gives us a spirit reservation efficiency of 1%. That reduces the cost of all the minions that you're carrying. So these are the two ones that. So the next one, let's look at uh, the helm. Again, I'm focusing two things. I'm carrying the maximum life I can find, and helmet can also have plus level to all minion skills. Maximum you can have is 2. So the helmet is not that expensive. You can find it for maybe about 3 to 4 exalted orbs. So again, you can see that initially I only had one, then I eventually bought the one that had 2 level of minion skills. The next level of a minion skills is going to come from your amulet. So again, try to maximize your spirit on the amulets. The max it again the key one here is the level of all the minion skills. So maximum you can have on amulet is 3. That can be very expensive. Very expensive doesn't mean like too many. I think the max you can buy the for the +3 ones you can buy them for about 5 divs at this time. But you can initially when you are making progression into the end game, you can stay with the +2 level of minion skills. That one is not that expensive. I think I bought it for one divine or maybe 10 exalted. I don't remember, but so that is another source of your spirit and the big DPS coming from the minion skills. So the next let's look at the key. This is another a good one, the Venter's Gamble Gold Ring. So you can see that it gives up to a maximum of +20 spirit. The problem with this ring is that it can give you resistances in the range of -40 to +40. It's very this is truly a gamble. As you can see that when I got this ring, all my resistances were in negative. It had a good decent amount of life, but I did not care. So I used a Divine Orb on it to re-roll this, and you can see that I got a really a good ring out of it. Every resistance is positive. I got pretty much close to a max spirit here. I don't care about the rarity of items found because I can raise this rarity from by some other means. So the next spirit is going to come from uh, your mental armor, the body armor. So again, you can see that I currently I have 69 up to this. I have another one that I have in my stash at the moment that has up to 82. But that one does not have a lot of resistances. But as I get resistance some on some other items, or as I will feel that I don't need resistance, I'm going to swap this out. But I think currently I'm okay with 69 spirit. So this is another source for you to have spirit. Then the other ring, I can go with the another ring for another gamble with the Venter's Gamble. But I decided not to do it. I decided to go with again to have some stats to resistances because the key thing to my build is I have to stay alive. So you need to stay alive. So I chose the other ring to have as much life as possible. Uh, One thing is, if you can, try to get the all attribute one or the plus strength one because every strength gives you 2 life. So all the life you can get so that it will increase uh, your spirit. Again, with the hands also, I focus mostly on the maximum life because you can see even the gems that I've used the gems. So again, here in the armor also, I have put the core ones that give me 3% increase max life. So I'm trying to maximize the life. So the next one that is going to come is your boots. The boots give you another reservation efficiency, 25%. It can go up to 30%. So if you can find up to that, but I think 25% was decent enough for me. There's one downside of these boots is that you're not going to be able to get your movement speed up to 35%. But since most of the fight is being done by your minions, you need to stay back a little bit anyways. But there are certain fights where you will need the movement fight, so you're gonna have to. The one fight where I had some problem was in the pinnacle fight, because I had to move from one circle to the other where the fire orbs are dropping. So that one is kind of was a little problem. Somehow I managed to do it. I just had to be very careful to make sure that I am standing on the edges so I can move to the next circle very quickly. Otherwise, this is only drawback that I have found with the boots that you cannot get to movement speed of 35% plus. You may can get from some other means. There are some other passive modes you can look into that will give you another maybe 3 to 6%. I will definitely recommend try to get those because you want to have some movement speed. So belt again, I'm focusing making sure that I have 3 charm slots, and again focusing mainly on life and strength. So that's all the gear. So here is how I raised the rarity. So I used one of the golden charms. This gives me a good decent amount of rarity to items. Other things I'll do is that bleeding is a problem, so I keep the bleeding. So I always in my stash I keep some other ones charms like the stuns, the freezes, chaos ones. So depending on the fight, I chase. So one thing that I will strongly recommend is one thing is that I will share that I found has been very helpful to me is that in There is a support skill called Wild Shards. This gives a very decent amount of AoE damage, but when you are in a boss fight, this can be a problem because it creates so much visual clutter, and you don't need a AoE damage when you are just focusing. At that time, what I do is I just replace Wild Shards with I just go with the elemental army, try to give more resistance to my minions. So that is the dance that I do before the boss fights. So that's all I have for the build and the gear. You can see that I have 581 spirit. So I try to optimize the minions to make sure that I don't waste my spirit. So you can see that I have only one spirit left that I did not use. So every time I increase my life or spirit, I make adjustments to the minions count to make sure that the build stays optimized. So I got about 2000, 2100 health and 2000 about energy shield. That seems has pretty much been. I have not run into any issues so far. One thing you definitely want to do is to have your energy shield charge rate as fast as possible, because later in the fights you're gonna get hit one way or the other at some point. So make sure that you charge the fuel. So that's all I have to share for this build. And one thing I can tell you is that this is one caveat is that this build is pretty a passive play style because you're not doing anything. Your minions are doing everything for you. So if you just want to sit back, relax, and just have your drink while you're playing, this is a good build. It's a good farming. This build is pretty good for farming as well, and it has taken me all the way up to level 93. And I think I may only have maybe 10 to 15 deaths so far, and most of the deaths that happened either they were because I was not paying attention, I was watching some movie or something while playing and not never paying attention. Otherwise, the 3 or 4 deaths that happened that was in the Gemini did not suitable because I needed to figure out what to do with the minions and how to survive that sandstone phase. But eventually, the bone cage was the answer. So good luck, have fun.